It's time for Inside the Capitol, your weekly legislative update from the League of Oregon Cities. And now for a look at what's happening this week in Salem, here's Jenna Jones.
Jenna, what's going on inside the Capitol this week?
So I don't think this is going to be new news, but I will give it from the League's perspective. Mm-hmm. So Senate Bill 1530, which is the primary vehicle for cap and trade or the carbon legislation, had a work session at 9 a.m. on Monday this week in Joint Ways and Means.
Okay.
It passed out of the committee, and its next destination was the Senate floor and then the House floor after that.
Okay.
By 11 a.m., in response to this passing out, the Senate Republicans left and denied the Senate a quorum on the floor. Mm-hmm. The next day, so Tuesday morning, out of solidarity for their Senate colleagues, the House Republicans walked out and denied a quorum on the House floor. So many might ask, where does this leave the LSC?
Right.
It's not like we just stopped working.
Sure.
So the LSC lobby team is still working hard on issues, and some things are still moving. Most of it is through a Ways and Means queuing process. So things are moving mostly through Ways and Means, and a couple of the committees that are still open, like Rules and Revenue. Mm-hmm. And that's starting to kind of have this queuing effect of if there is going to be a quorum at some point later on in this session, that some of these bills might be ready to go to both floors or one floor.
Okay.
So with that being said, here are some updates on the bills that we're working on and we're watching move. So I'll start with my own portfolio, House Bill 4079, which is the broadband funding package. It passed out of the Joint Ways and Means Subcommittee on Capital Construction yesterday afternoon. It's on the calendar for this evening or afternoon for full Joint Ways and Means Committee. We're hoping it'll pass, and that leaves it in a place that it'll be ready to head to the House floor, then the Senate floors, if we get a quorum back.
So it's in that queue.
Yes, so it's in the queue. Mm-hmm. The other thing we're hoping will pass is there are a few water-related funding bills that are kind of stuck in Ways and Means right now. The first is House Bill 4070, which would provide a $2 million in funding for the septic loan program. This provides loans for low-income Oregonians to repair or replace failing septic systems or connect those systems to public sewer. Okay. So this is a priority for us. And then the other is House Bill 4071, which would provide funding for additional lab equipment to process samples with the whole harmful algal bloom monitoring.
Yes, yeah.
And so this also provides some funding for additional lab staff at DEQ and a coordinator position at the Oregon Health Authority, or OHA, if we're talking in acronyms.
Right.
And then on the housing side, House Bill 4001 passed out of Capital Construction Subcommittee on Ways and Means yesterday as well. It's scheduled for a vote in full Ways and Means today, like broadband. And as a reminder, we've probably brought this bill up multiple times. I know it's been in the bulletin. So just about what the bill does, it's the emergency shelter bill, and it's a top priority for Speaker Kotek. Mm-hmm. And if the legislator regains a quorum, we expect House Bill 41 would be one of the priority bills in the queue that will most likely pass.
Okay.
This bill dedicates a total of $145 million to stand up new emergency shelters, with $16.5 million going to specific shelter projects in some of our cities like Bend, Eugene, McMinnville, Medford, and Salem. Then there'll be $28.5 million, which will be available statewide through the Oregon Housing and Community Services. Again, if you speak in acronyms, OHCS.
Don't we all speak in acronyms now?
But we should say their full names. The bill also waives all local siting and zoning regulations, as well as the land use appeals process for approving the siting of these emergency shelters. But that's only for 1 year. So there is a timeline there. So moving away from that, there's the wildfire packages that we've been talking about. So we started off this session with 6 bills, and now it's been trimmed down to about 2.
Okay.
Senate Bill 1536 is looking like the primary vehicle, and it's in a much better place than it was at the start of session. I know Jim and our team has been working really hard on this, and so Senate Bill 1536, now, as compared to the beginning of session, local governments will be part of the land use conversation going forward, but are not stuck with this bill. So that was something that we were worried about. Okay. And then provided that this bill passes, there will still be another interim work group that will be done leading up to the 2021 session. So we'll continue to be a part of that conversation.
All right.
Senate Bill 1565 is the distillers bill that you guys have heard lots about. We've been working extensively hard on this bill. Really, Mark Garce has been working really hard on this. It looks like the distillers will get this bill, but a new development this week was it will sunset after 4 years and require reporting on how many jobs it's actually created.
Okay.
There was another looming concern, and that was that there would be an increase in compensation at liquor stores, which would have been much more expensive. And it looks like that change has been stopped for this year. We will be discussing liquor taxes at the LOC Policy Committee after session. And beer taxes are currently 4 cents a 6-pack. And we know these are there are members who want to look at the issue in 2021 about kind of raising some of the tax side so cities remain whole.
Okay.
The Senate Finance and Revenue Committee sent a bill to Ways and Means that would freeze the property taxes of a small group of seniors who could otherwise qualify for the senior deferral program, but for a reverse mortgage. The Legislative Revenue Office scored this bill as having a minimal revenue impact, but we still have concerns and would prefer that we simply get these folks into the deferral program instead of kind of cutting into our property taxes. So that's a separate bill.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So that's another interesting one that has come up this week. And then lastly, this bill has also been pretty publicized in our bulletin and other means, is Senate Bill 1567, and that's the bill on police accountability. This week it passed through House Rules Committee, and its next and final step will be the House floor. If we get a quorum back.
Okay.
So it has already passed the Senate floor, and it had no amendments going this way through the second chamber. So that one is looking to not have to do too much work if there's a quorum back.
Okay.
Yeah, with that, we've got some exciting news on other news for Inside the Capitol next week. What's going to happen, Denise?
Well, next week we're going to have, you, Jenna, are going to guest host on Inside the Capitol. I'm going to be out for a little bit, and so you are going to step into the chair and put the headphones on and go ahead and guest host. And that, I think, will be our last Inside the Capitol for this session. So I'm looking forward to hearing how you do.
I'm excited to guest host. I'm honored that you asked me to do it. And yes, next week will be the last Inside the Capitol, at least for weekly updates.
Right,
we'll probably do something.
We're going to do a
after.
session roundup on the regular City Focus podcast, but I think for our little short, quick hits Inside the Capitol, that'll be the last one. You'll get to close out the session with your recording of it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all next week.
And okay, so once again, Jenna, thank you for coming in and updating us. This week and next week is probably going to be wild and crazy, so we will look forward to your updates next week.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this week's Inside the Capitol. Episodes of this microcast are released every Friday during the legislative session, so be sure to check out the show notes for links to the bills that were mentioned, as well as a link to the LOC Bulletin for up-to-the-minute information. As always, if you have suggestions for topics for this podcast or for City Focus, please send me an email at cityfocus@orcities.org. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to get notification when we publish new content.